The Caribbean nation of Jamaica has endured another day of rain and wind from Tropical Storm Lili. Getting from point A to point B around the Kingston, Jamaica area has been difficult after Lili. The nation has been getting wind and rain from the tropical storm since Friday. Rock slides and mudslides caused by the rain have left homes damaged and streets clogged with debris. Lili expected to keep Jamaica in the wet at least through Monday before it pulls off to the west. And Tropical Storm Lili is mainly a rain threat for Jamaica, but especially in the mountains. Remember, this latest round of rain, though, on top of the 10 to 15 inches of rain that swamped the island a week and a half ago, courtesy of Tropical Storm Isidore. Earlier tonight, we spoke with Dr. Barbara Carby of the Jamaica Office of Disaster Preparedness to see how folks there are faring.
Right now, the entire island is experiencing moderate to heavy rainfall, and we have had flooding in 3 or 4 parishes. We've had flooding in St. Thomas, Clarendon, Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine and St. Elizabeth. There was a power outage in one locality earlier, but the power has been restored now. So there's no widespread power outage.
Well, as we go into the future, the main threat will move away from Jamaica and farther west. We're seeing Lili strengthening at last check. And here are the latest details from the National Hurricane Center. The 11 p.m. advisory: top winds of 65 miles an hour, centered 60 miles northwest of Montego Bay and heading off to the west-northwest at 6 miles an hour. Central pressure at 992 millibars. And notice the cluster of bright reds here. That's near the center of circulation, indications that Lili is strengthening. And on its current path, it's forecast to move into the Gulf of Mexico by midweek. And yeah, not looking good at all. Look at that path out there. This could change, but the takeaway from this map is if you live in the Gulf of Mexico states, get ready, because we're going to have another system, it looks like, in the Gulf by midweek. Tropical storm warnings up for the entire island of Cuba, also in Jamaica, and hurricane warnings up for the Cayman Islands, hurricane watches up for western Cuba. We'll expand things out a bit. Wanted to take a brief peek in at the other tropical system, Tropical Storm Kyle, not doing all that well, heading northbound now at 6 miles an hour, centered 240 miles south of Bermuda, top wind speeds of 45 miles an hour. All right, wanted to come back now into the U.S. because we have some problems here in Wisconsin. Along this warm front, we've seen some pretty nasty storms starting to fire up. Jackson County, Grant County under a severe thunderstorm warning right now here to the south and east of Eau Claire. And as we head a little farther to the west, or rather to the east, Wood County also under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. So watch out. Some pretty nasty storms heading up toward the area of Wausau. We've already seen 60-mile-an-hour gusts with these. We'll have more details on this situation coming up at the top of the hour after Local on the 8s. Be right back.
I'm the mama. That's my voice. My whole life, all I wanted to be was a mother.
Mom, you're the best.
I eat all the time.
The kids love the biscuits I found from Pillsbury. Get this. Take the biscuits out of the freezer, as many as you need, and bake them up. If I need a couple more, I bake a couple more.
These biscuits are good.
They love my biscuits.
They can eat 3 or 4 before I even get them to the table. Authentic home-baked classics.
In the freezer.
I may be little, but I'm mighty.
Walgreens has thousands of locations across America, from the corner of Elm in Maine to the corner of Montgomery and Pine, to our newest location, Walgreens.com. You can manage your health care on America's healthiest website, because America's favorite corner drugstore is now located on the corner of your desk. Register online or come into Walgreens Pharmacy and we'll do it for you. Walgreens.com. Another reason Walgreens is the pharmacy America trusts.
Yo, Terry!
What is it, Alf?
This buffet has no worms. It's uncivilized.
Well, then try something else.
Oh, hey.
Not my dollar, you overgrown throw rug.
I thought $1 had no value.
Well, it does if you dial 10-10-220.
All calls up to 20 minutes are 99 cents.
Get out of town.
Yeah, and 7 cents a minute after 20.
All right, no dollars. Got any cats?
No. Furball.
Jealous?
Dial 10-10-220.
Which is a classic example of return on investment. Perhaps you have an example, sir?
Certainly, a Dell PC. Allow me to demonstrate. A Dell Expert helps you get the right PC for you. Add the powerful mobile Pentium 4 processor M. Sweet. Factor in award-winning service and support, and you get...
Mud covers roads, fields, and yards in Jamaica as a result of Tropical Storm Lili. The strengthening storm dumped heavy rain on the island over the weekend that brought mudslides and flooding. The town of Trinityville is reported underwater after the 2 rivers that surround it flooded. Power is also out in some areas, and Lili is expected to move into the Gulf of Mexico later this week. As we go ahead and take a look at the Atlantic Basin, 3 features to point out to you here. We have Tropical Storm Kyle, we have Tropical Storm Lili, and we also have an area of disturbed weather just to the southwest of the Cape Verde Islands. It's really not expected to develop within the next 24 hours. First stop, though, is on Lili, which, of course, is still in the Caribbean. And as we take a look here, it has a well-defined center of circulation, and there is a well-defined eye wall, and it does have good structure associated with it. Right now, Lili is expected to strengthen possibly to hurricane strength later today, and it's forecast to move out over Grand Cayman. Could cause some problems there, and eventually by tomorrow towards the Isle of Youth and also across parts of southern Cuba. Here's the latest statistics on Tropical Storm Lili. Winds right now at 70 miles an hour. Just has to get up to 74 miles an hour to be classified as a hurricane, so it's almost there. Positioned at 125 miles to the east of Grand Cayman, moving west-northwest at 9, and the estimated pressure is at 29.26 inches. Tropical storm warnings for all of Cuba and all of Jamaica at this point in time, and we also have hurricane watches in effect for western Cuba, and hurricane warnings are in effect for the Cayman Islands. The projected path of Lili takes it into the Gulf of Mexico by Wednesday morning. It is the possibility that it could become a hurricane later today, so if you do live in the Gulf of Mexico, you'll really have to keep a close eye on the exact path of Lili. And one of the reasons why Lili is expected to work its way into the Gulf of Mexico is because we do have a big area of high pressure aloft across parts of the western Atlantic, and that's going to steer Lili into parts of the Gulf of Mexico. And the areas that we really need to keep a close eye on are the Louisiana coast and also across parts of the northeastern Texas coastline. Meanwhile, across parts of the islands here, you can see generally quiet conditions. However, around Puerto Rico, San Juan, there are some scattered showers. Tropical Storm Kyle also forecast to strengthen a little bit today. Winds of 45 miles an hour, moving to the north at 6. But right now, Kyle still isn't affecting anyone as it continues to spin across parts of the Atlantic. Now with a look at your storm conditions, here's Nick.
And as we take a look toward the United States, we're going to find ourselves with a few thunderstorms more toward upper Michigan, northern sections of Wisconsin, and back toward the plains too. This is where we're seeing the storms. This is where we're going to see the storms continuing along this warm front. Some patches of fog and some cooler temperatures back behind that front. So all along this front this morning, and as we get through the day, we'll continue to see some wet weather and some fairly strong storms now moving towards Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and also back toward Green Bay, Wisconsin. You may see and hear some thunder off in the distance. It may not be so much in the distance here pretty soon. Des Moines, you've seen a few showers. Most of these have been pretty light here through Iowa this morning. Heavier rain's going to be up in the western Great Lakes. Melissa?
Getting the kids and you ready for the Monday commute, plus the changing tropical picture, are top reasons to stay with the next hour of First Outlook. Beginning at 6:01, how a chilly start in the northeast will warm up throughout the day, and find out if the layered look will be necessary in your city to keep you from overheating coming home. Plus, we'll have the latest on Tropical Storm Lili, information that everyone in the southeast needs to stay prepared. At 6:20, the ecological mystery of a massive fish kill in the west. And at 6:10 and 6:40, travel analyst Dennis Smith will be here to help you out.
And travel around D.C. should be pretty good today. Lots of sunshine, highs in the upper 70s.
First Outlook is sponsored by Wachovia Securities. Together we can achieve uncommon results.
What can handlebars teach us about financial relationships? You have to reach out to make them work. They're most valuable when faced with the unexpected. Wisdom is everywhere. Uncommon wisdom is knowing how to apply it. Wachovia Securities.
Your pet's same exact heartworm and flea medications delivered to your home, saving you time and money.
It costs less than buying from my veterinarian.
It only takes a phone call.
I saved a visit to my vet's office. I didn't have to leave home.
Pet Meds delivers my pet's medication right to my door.
It's cheaper and more convenient than buying from my vet.
I save time and money.
1-800-PET-MEDS. We deliver savings.
Brought flooding to Jamaica. Torrential rain turned roads into rivers, as you can see, and some rivers flooded towns like Trinidad. Rain continues to fall in Jamaica as the storm inches closer now to the Gulf of Mexico. Taking a look at some steering currents of Lili. We have this high pressure centered across the Atlantic, and this high pressure aloft will actually expand as we go through time, and we'll get the clockwise wind flow, of course, around high pressure, bringing in more of a western and a northwestern direction of the storm, which will take that into the Gulf of Mexico this week as a hurricane now, just a Category 1 storm now, but expected to strengthen as we go through time as it makes its way across the open, warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Here's a look at Hurricane Lili. The advisory is of the 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, and 75-mile-an-hour winds, again making this a minimal storm right now, 19.8 degrees north, 80.0 degrees west. Location of Lili now is 225 miles southeast of the Isle of Youth there in Cuba, and movement generally to the west-northwest at 10 miles an hour. Our pressure down to 986. A look at the satellite review of the storm, showing you still some showers and thunderstorms back on the western side of Jamaica. Again, very heavy rain, a lot of flooding problems here in Jamaica, and we're expecting the same as we go into western and central Cuba over the next 24 hours. As you may remember, about a week and a half ago, we were talking about Isidore as it made its way through this area. So again, these areas already picking up a lot of rain, still dealing with some flooding problems here across Jamaica. Looking at the center of circulation, still a lot of thunderstorm activity as the storm becomes more and more organized. Of course, we'll be getting another update in the early afternoon. What about the projected path of the storm as we go through time? Taking you out the next 48 to 72 hours. Notice it as it enters the Gulf of Mexico by Tuesday evening and then into Wednesday and Thursday morning. Residents along the Gulf Coast should keep a very close eye on this storm, as we will be here at the Weather Channel. In conjunction with the National Hurricane Center, of course, giving you updates throughout the day, and you can always get your update at 10 minutes at the top of the hour on all the tropics. Keeping a very close eye on this storm again, because strengthening is projected as we go out into Wednesday and Thursday morning here in the Gulf of Mexico. Presently, we do have tropical storm warnings in effect for central and eastern areas of Cuba, also for Jamaica, still under a tropical storm warning. Hurricane warnings are now in effect for western Cuba. This does include the Isle of Youth, and also southward toward the Cayman Islands. Again, that means that hurricane conditions could be in your area within the next 24 hours. Here's a look at the last 12 hours. I want to show you our two systems of concern right now. The first one we've been talking about, is Lili, and then up to the north and to the east, we're talking about Tropical Storm Kyle. Here's the 11 o'clock advisory on Kyle, 29.8 degrees north, 64.8 degrees west. The storm is located now 215 miles south of Bermuda, and winds are at 45 miles an hour. The storm was pushing to the north. The last advisory now just stationary. Pressures at 1,002 millibars this time around. And a look at the watches and warnings. Right now we do have a tropical storm watch in effect for Bermuda. That means that tropical storm conditions could be in this area within the next 36 hours. A look on the satellite picture again of Kyle. The storm has been sort of meandering around the Atlantic as we've been tracking this for the last few days, and we'll continue to monitor that as, again, winds are at 45 miles an hour. But again, the big story will be Lili as we go throughout the next few days into the Gulf of Mexico, keeping a very close eye on this storm, which is now a hurricane. That's the big story this morning. Elsewhere across the Atlantic basin, we have a few tropical waves to watch as they come off the coast of Africa back into the eastern Pacific. No problems here. But as we go into the western Pacific, we're going to point out a very strong typhoon that continues to race off to the north. This could be affecting Tokyo by tomorrow. So something to keep an eye on there in the western Pacific. Stateside, as far as what's going on with your travel conditions and storm watch, still have a chance of some severe weather here throughout the afternoon and evening hours across northern sections of Wisconsin. Also for the UP of Michigan, some isolated strong thunderstorms too in the southeast along the Gulf Coast. If you have beach plans today from Destin, Fort Walton back over to Pensacola, could see some isolated stronger thunderstorms all the way down to the west coast of Florida as well. Coming up, it's your local forecast, followed by Weather Center at the top of the hour.
This program was brought to you by Suzuki. See your local Suzuki dealer for America's best value or call 1-877-MY-SUZUKI.
Introducing Suzuki's 00 and 7 event, featuring America's #1 value plan. It's America's #1 finance offer and America's #1 warranty. 0% APR financing for 5 full years with 0 down payment on all new Suzuki models. And now, all new Suzukis come with a 100,000-mile 7-year powertrain limited warranty, like the XL7 with available third-row seating and the 145 horsepower Aereo, now available with the confidence of all-wheel drive. The smart choice is America's #1 value plan, so move fast to your local Suzuki dealer today.
See your local Suzuki dealer for America's #1 warranty or call 1-877-MY-SUZUKI.
Your cheating heart will make you weak. You'll cry and cry and try to sleep, but sleep won't come the whole night through. Your cheating heart.
Visit a York dealer near you. It's time to get comfortable.
Next, please.
Well, hello.
Oh, great. A talking gecko.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
It is time now for the tropical update, and our top story is Hurricane Lili. The storm has been pounding Jamaica. Rain started falling Friday night and is still coming down today. Mudslides and raging rivers are reported around the Kingston area and all over the island, and the rain should continue through tonight. Now, the current track has Lili moving over the tip of Cuba before entering the Gulf of Mexico. And for more on this storm and the tropics, let's bring in our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons. And Dr. Steve, as compared to last week, how is Lili different?
Well, Lili's a very, very small circulation right now, at least with the stronger wind field. Only about 15 miles marks the diameter of the hurricane force winds, Carl. And because of that, unless the system moves right over you almost, you're not going to get strong winds. But it's still a heavy rain producer, and as you mentioned, Jamaica's still getting it. Let's look at the latest satellite imagery, and I'll show you the circulation. Now, currently it's at 20.1 north, 80.7 west. At least that's what it was at 5 p.m. It's moved a little bit to the northwest of that. It's moving west-northwest at 10, and the pressure is 984 millibars. Winds are 80 miles per hour, and the hurricane hunters are on their way out. And we should have a new fix from them in about 2 or 3 hours as they're heading to the southwest. They're way out underneath our Weather Channel logo heading this way. You see this heavy band of rain still over Jamaica. That's going to probably persist tonight. As that band stays still, the circulation over here continues to move off toward the west-northwest. So watch out for flooding, mudslides, and flash flooding over there over the next 6 to 12 hours. Now, the circulation is causing hurricane warnings to be posted for the Cayman Islands and western Cuba. Currently in Grand Cayman, the winds are west at about 15 to 20, gusting to 25. Up at Little Cayman and Cayman Brock, we don't have observations there, but the wind should be stronger. But the circulation is so small that the wind is not a big issue there. Probably the rainfall is the big issue, even over the Caymans. Now, over Cuba, where the elevations are higher, we're expecting the possibility of flooding there as well. And of course, we have tropical storm warnings and watches up. Also, the watch is up for the northern portion of the Yucatan Peninsula, including Cancun and Cozumel. We don't think it's going to directly impact Cancun and Cozumel this time. It's going to continue on into the Gulf of Mexico. And right now, we're getting some fairly strong winds in the Florida Straits, and the Florida Keys are gusting to about 30 miles per hour. Even Miami, it's breezy, and you can see that, that wind in Miami if you're there. These showers moving over the Florida Keys will persist through the night. Currently in the Gulf of Mexico, not much going on there, and that's why we expect the system just to continue to move on a west-northwest track. This is our tropical depression up here, which appears to be weakening rather quickly, and we'll see that in just a second. There's our projected path over the next 72 hours, so those of you in the central and northwestern Gulf of Mexico should be monitoring the situation very carefully. Eastern Pacific is quiet, so let's get back to Carl.
Dr. Steve, thank you. The other big story today is severe weather in the upper Midwest. There's now a front working through the Midwest, and we have very warm and very humid air streaming up through the middle of the country. There is some vertical motion in the atmosphere, very fast winds aloft, and the result has been strong storms in Wisconsin and also into parts of Iowa today. There is a tornado watch now in effect for Wisconsin and Minnesota. We have not seen very much action in Minnesota, so keep that in mind if you live in the Twin Cities. Not much going on there right now. We have one nasty cell here just south and east of Duluth. This is moving along towards the northeast at about 15 miles an hour. Very, very heavy rain with that, and there certainly could be large hail and damaging wind, so do watch out for that. Now, the storms in the central part of the state have been racing along towards the northeast and east at 40, 50, and in some cases 60 miles an hour, so that's not going to give you very much time to react. If you have a severe thunderstorm warning, you will see it as a crawl along the bottom of your screen. And then farther along towards the south and west, some very nasty looking cells here just to the south and west of 94. These two are lifting along towards the northeast rapidly. We've had a number of severe thunderstorm warnings, and again, you could see large hail, you could see damaging wind, and there could be an occasional tornado. We'll have to watch out for that possibility. We'll have more on the severe weather and the very latest on Hurricane Isidore coming up in just a few minutes, but now this.
This program was brought to you by the Home Depot, driving down the cost of home improvement.
Honey, you remember when we bought this house, you said we'd remodel the kitchen?
Vaguely. See, the problem is I just don't have the time.
We can take care of the installation for you.
Can?
Countertops and cabinets. What about tile floor?
Well, sure. Floors, garage doors, even a roof if you like.
Guaranteed?
Absolutely.
I could have done this.
I could have.
I hunt and gather better online.
Well, that's obvious.
I am so hungry, I could eat a moose. What do you got?
Set up for some beef noodle soup?
Condensed soup?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be getting back to nature, not childhood.
But I like this.
There's a better tasting soup.
Progresso grilled steak?
Big chunks of grilled beef, hearty veggies. See the difference?
This is better. Can I have yours?
It's time to go to the better taste, the Progresso.
Hi, Billy Mays here for the Gopher. The handy helper that reaches so you don't have to. Use it for reaching up high or for picking up down low. In the laundry room, it's the best. It'll get that odd sock in an impossible to reach area. Any object, big or small, it...